We are here with King's College men's tennis champions of the Middle Atlantic Conference. We have Chris Domino on our left, Chris Casilio in the middle, and Tim Carroll on the right. Guys, congratulations on winning MAC championships this past weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris Casilio in the middle has 2 medals around his neck, a beautiful sight. Chris, talk about your quest for 2 titles at the tournament.
Looking at the draws, we knew we had a rough trek ahead of us, singles and the doubles. Both 1 seed stood in my way and Tim and I's way in the doubles. So we knew it was going to be tough. Tim's shoulder was bothering him, and elbow was bothering him, and I was coming down with a cold. So we knew it was going to be rough, but if we played well, we thought we could make a run.
Well, let's go to Tim. Tim, you're a senior. You guys were in the doubles championship together. If your first year playing together as Chris transferred over from Wilkes, talk about the path that you guys had to winning the first flight doubles championship.
Well, yeah, first off, I just got to say it's good playing with him instead of against him for once. But we got Lycoming, we had a bye, and then we got Lycoming, who we actually had beat about a week or 2 prior. So we kind of knew how to play them and got through that pretty easily. And then you always have Manhattanville, who was the 1 seed, standing in the way. You have Capozzi and that Pinto. But we just played outstanding, actually. And everything just kind of fell into place. Beat them 8-4, and then went on to the finals versus Wilkes. And him going back to seeing the old Wilkes kids and getting them in the finals, it couldn't have been much sweeter for me or him.
Well, the big surprise of the tournament was probably that you guys defeated the number 1 seed in the semifinals, Mike Capozzi and Gabe Pinto of Manhattanville. You guys won that match 8-4 and knocked them out to reach the finals. Talk about your mindset going into that match against the top-seeded team.
Well, we thought that was going to be probably our toughest match. They were the 1 seed for a reason. I've played Mike a couple occasions, singles and doubles, and he's a phenomenal player. And Tim played Pinto the day before, and he had a good match, but Pinto got the best of him. So we knew that was going to be a tough combination.
Let's go over to Chris Domino. Chris, you were in the number 5 flight in singles. You won 2 matches the first day and 2 matches the second day to win your first MAC championship as a sophomore. That had to be a great feeling. Talk about your path to the title.
Okay, well, first, played a kid from Arcadia University, and that was a relatively easy match. I beat him 6-1, 6-1. And then in the second round, I played a kid from FDU. His name was Ryan Kearns, I believe. I played him in high school too as well, so I knew the matchup pretty well. In the third round, I played a kid from Elizabethtown, the 3rd seed. And finally, again, I played Elizabethtown again. Played Dylan Hefner, I believe. And that was a marathon match, and that's probably one of my best victories.
Well, that was a 3-setter. You lost the first set 6-2, came back to win the second set 6-3. And in the super tiebreaker, you won 13-11, but you were down 8-4 and came back to win that super tiebreaker. So talk about your mindset being down like that and being able to battle back.
Well, I just took every point, point by point, just try to even it up. That was my goal, to get it to 8-8 and then take it from there. At that point, I went up 9-8, and then he tied me again with the winning, I think, forehand. And then from there, I just kept getting a point on him and finally put it away at 13-11.
And getting back to Chris Casilio, you won the number 1 flight championship in singles and, of course, teamed with Tim to win the number 1 flight in doubles. Talk about your path to the championship. You had transferred here from Kings but did not play last year, so you were a year away from the sport and coming back, and then came all the way back to win a title. You won your first 2 matches. In the semifinals, you beat the number 1 seed, Manrique Area from E-Town, 6-4, 6-4. He was a defending champion. Talk about that match.
Well, Manny's a great player. I knew that was going to be a problem. When the draws came out, winning this title last year, I knew he was going to be a threat. I've seen him beat previous number 1s from Wilkes. He beat Caesar a couple years ago, who was our old number 1 at Wilkes. So I knew that was going to be a really tough match, and it was. And Manny's a great player, and I'm just relieved that I got through that one.
You won that match and you advanced to the championship where you faced the number 2 seed, Mike Capozzi of Manhattanville. You won the first set 6-3, but then he retired from fatigue from the tournament. You guys were playing doubles and singles throughout, and it was a very hot weekend. So, your thoughts on winning a championship when somebody retires rather than being to seal the deal yourself?
Well, nobody wants to win that way off a technicality like that. You know, it's tough, and it wasn't an abnormally warm weekend for this area and this time of the month. So it's definitely not the best way to win. He's played me a few times before and got the best of me, so I was thrilled to get the win. But obviously, it wasn't as sweet as winning straight up. But I'll see him again in the spring, and I'm sure he's looking forward to seeing me in the spring.
And moving on to Tim. Talk about the chemistry that you guys developed together. This is your first time playing together, and you automatically go to the championship and win. So talk about what you guys did to get to that point.
Yeah, we've only played about 6 matches together, but it feels like, we've, came into school together, been playing for 4 years. Just from day one that we stepped into practice, we've been doubles partners and it's just kind of been assumed. So, every day in practice we've been, winning at a pretty good margin, and I'm just glad that the tournament wasn't any different. It's what we wanted, and glad it worked out that way.
In the doubles competition in the #1 flight, Tim and Chris, you guys played a pair from Wilkes University, Alex Makos and Clark Freeman. Chris in particular, since you were a student at Wilkes and were on the team, you and Freeman were teammates. What was it like playing your former school and also someone that was your previous teammate?
It was definitely an interesting feeling. Clark and I are friends, so that was kind of weird playing against him, and it was definitely odd playing against Coach Light. He's also a close personal friend of mine, so that was definitely odd. But after the first few games, we kind of refocused, and it was more just about getting the gold medal.
And Tim, you were the partner. Did you have any words of encouragement for him? What was your way to help him keep composed playing against a former teammate?
We really didn't say anything about that going into it. I knew it, it was a big deal for me to beat Wilkes, never happened to me, but I knew that he wanted to, get that win no matter what he may have said. So I just wanted to play consistent for him and, just help him out any way I could.
Guys, now that the MAC individual season is over and you've won championships, talk about the goals for the team in the upcoming spring season. You're going to have a long break. How do you plan to keep prepared for the spring season?
I think it's going to be, this winter is huge. The work we put in the off season inside at Kingston Indoor is going to be huge, and everybody is really motivated to do well, and we have a lot of ground to make up. Manhattanville and Wilkes are terrific teams, so we're really going to have to up our game if we want to compete with them in the spring. So we did a good job of that this weekend. Everybody competed really well. Jake Roaring and Tony Bevavino, Tyler Young, they all gave really great efforts. I think they all did good damage in their draws. So we have some work to do, but the talent's already there. So I think if we just put the hard work in, we'll be fine in the spring.
Tim, you're a senior and a team captain on the squad. Talk about your role in leading this team.
I just do what I can, really. Show up to practice every day, try to, motivate everybody. Like Chris said, we have a great group of guys. Everybody gets along terrifically, so you don't really have to put all that much into, getting somebody to actually go to practice or being a leader. Everybody kind of steps up and does their own thing, and, everybody's got a good head on their shoulders, so it makes it pretty easy.
And Chris Domino, you're only a sophomore on the team, but you just won your first MAC championship. Talk about your role on the team and how you've helped the team become successful.
Well, my role on the team is just to practice with the team every day. Getting advice by Chris Gazillia is definitely a big advantage. Definitely, he's helped with my serve a lot, and also just everything in general, my tennis game in general. And I think just working on our doubles teams in general, the first doubles team works very well together as they won the MAC championship. But our second and third doubles teams definitely needs a little work. But we'll definitely get there. We gotta work hard.
And I noticed you guys are sporting a little bit of a different haircut than you did last week.
Take it out.
We have 3 mohawks in front of us, although Chris Gazilio is a little bashful about it today. there's a story behind that, so why don't you tell us?
Going into the doubles, yeah, mine's not as good as theirs. Mine's a little longer because I'm kind of a wimp. But going into the doubles, Tim had the mohawk, and to be honest, I didn't think there was any way we were gonna make it through the draw. So I told him if we won the tournament, I would get a mohawk myself. So unfortunately, I guess we won. But
then from there, Chris got his 5th singles title, so he had to jump on the bandwagon.
And Chris, when you're sitting there in the barber's chair, what are you thinking? What am I doing to myself here?
I explained to the barber that about the entire bet and the entire tournament, so she was pretty cool about it. And yeah, I'm just looking forward, a week or so, cutting this off and getting a real haircut.